Your shift's nearly over, don't pick up the phone. There's a light in the tavern and it calls you home. And the boy that you were is the man that you'll be when you take up your sword and adventure with me. Adventure with me. So lay down your tools, pick up your sword. You don't need no money, just walk out the door as the mist fall around us. Will you answer the call? And they won't even notice that you left at all.
So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight for the first episode of The Order of the Shattered Sigil. I'm Sean, and I'll be your DM in this game. Thank you everyone for joining me. We might just go around the table, so to speak, and just introduce yourself as the human, as the player, not the character. And then I'll set the scene quickly about where we are and what we're doing. Top left is Alan.
Fantastic. I'm just getting over a cold, so please forgive any sniffles or I can't mute. So I unfortunately on the wrong side of 40, and I'm a surgical in, but I on the Gold Coast and the Sunshine Coast.
Mike.
I'm Mike. I'm down in South Australia. I'm a GP in the southern suburbs down there. I've recently fellowed, which for anybody non-medical means that I've finished my specialist training. And it was end of last year that I did my exams and stuff. But yeah, so this is my first year as a fellow, and I work both in a private practice GP and then also I do 1 day a week in Aboriginal health, which is where I spent my final year as a registrar, was doing some sort of like special interest training in that area.
That's great. Thanks, Mike. Justin.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm a GP. I'm over in the ACT. I'm also recently fellowed and just enjoying not being constantly stuck studying for exams for once.
It is a nice life. You get used to it eventually, and then you foolishly think about what else you should do with your life, and then you do stupid things like PhDs. Do not recommend. And Dave, welcome back. Thank you for bringing a character that didn't have anything in the backstory that I had to adjust my entire campaign to fit.
That's ominous. I'm Dave. I'm a pediatric registrar from Queensland, specifically around Logan area. And also, my voice is really raspy at the moment because I recently got over a bout of vomiting a lot, but now I think it works well with my character.
I was going to say it suits the, yes.
Yeah, who is an elderly halfling, a retired button merchant, and a bird enthusiast, and definitely not the legendary thief known as the Weasel King. Probably.
Mostly, probably. All right. Our players and their characters are all agents or operatives of an order called the Shattered Sigil, which is a quasi-official but very deniable organization that sits under the Lord's Alliance in the Swords Coast campaign setting in Faerun. And this is an organization which is involved in a range of political, military, economic, trade, all kinds of issues. If there's a big and significant issue that needs to be addressed in a way that can't necessarily be traced, these are the guys who do it. And the idea of this campaign is that people can drop in and out, characters can drop in and out, and each mission is only very loosely tied to the next. Each of our characters has assembled in the early hours of the morning in the Bastion Hall of Records, which is in the castle ward of Waterdeep. And from the outside, it's a building that is completely unremarkable. It's a stone-fronted government archive, high windows, with lattice work, big wooden doors with the Lord's Alliance sigil, and fairly nondescript Clark Kent-ish clerks and scribes pass in and out all day carrying armfuls of parchment ledgers, and it's not uncommon to see traffic there at all times of the night. And a pair of very bored-looking city watch guards stand at the entrance, cursory examinations to those who enter, as you'd expect from a government building. And for most people, this is a place of bureaucratic monotony. a place where treaties and records gather dust. It's not a place that particularly gathers a lot of interest, but for those who know, it is the veil that hides the Order of the Shattered Sigil's headquarters. And so this morning before their meeting, each of our characters at slightly different points in time and through slightly different entrances to the building found their way to a particular clerk at a particular desk and were shown by a grizzled old gnome through long corridors of musty tomes and forgotten records. And at the end of this corridor is an iron bookcase, and its shelves are lined with stuff that no one has clearly read in centuries. And moving a book on the door case slides the door to the side, and they enter a narrow stone passage and eventually make it into the offices and rooms of the Shattered Sigil, which is where we find them now. The four of them who have never worked on a mission together, who have only heard of each other by reputation and by passing in the night, so to speak. And you know that you've been summoned here to meet with Arik. Lord Arik Valtieri is your handler, is the face of the sigil as far as you're all aware. The door to his office is closed currently, and you can hear voices from inside, and you're standing in the war room as such. What's going on? What do you see? And what do you see? Well, let's start with Harold, because we've already got a bit of a glimpse at Harold. What do the others see when Mr. Tuggins arrives?
When Mr. Tuggins arrives, he is just slowly just walking and shuffling through the door, while a really while that grizzled gnome is directing him, and you're such a lovely boy for guiding me in. I've lost my glasses. I wouldn't know where to begin. Thank you so much for helping. And then
The gnome, who almost never speaks, he just looks at you. And this is not the first time he's brought you into this room. He's probably brought you into this room a number of times, and he's pretty sure that the actor's getting old, but he nods quietly and goes back to his post because he's not getting paid enough to deal with this.
Yeah. So Harold is a short, elderly halfling. He's wearing a patchwork kind of cloak over what appears to be comfortable but old, kind of tattered clothing, and is wearing a pair of moccasins as well. That's quietly shuffles along the floor, and is using a cane for support as well. He looked like an elderly grandfather that people would just love.
Snappy, you're probably the most alert person and perhaps the most judgmental of Harold's arrival. How do you take the arrival of this geriatric halfling?
I think I've shifted myself up into the corner, which is where I would have placed myself, so that no one could be at my back. And I was actually flicking through a book, which I've got here, but I'm holding it upside down. Oh, it's blurred. God damn it. I found this the other day. It's my CD copy of the original Baldur's Gate, and I found it in a box.
I thought it was how to cook halflings and influence people or something like that.
And I was trying to show
the intimidation move.
He's reading this book upside down because he's not actually 100% literate, but he's also not actually really reading it. He's mostly looking over at what's happening in the room. And he just grunts, shifts a little bit uneasily, but he doesn't need to move. He sizes up Harold and he figures he's not much of a problem for him to handle. Probably 1-2 bites at a max.
And what do the rest of the group see when they're looking at Snappy?
So Snappy is monstrous in size. He's technically a dragonborn by genetics, but his appearance is that of a 7-foot-tall humanoid crocodile, but his snout to tail length is actually about 14 feet, sorry. And he fills the corner that he's trying to quite surreptitiously hide in. You're not quite sure if he's 100% there, given that he's reading this book upside down, but he's absolutely ripped. with muscle and covered in scars. He's obviously had quite a tough life. He's not wearing much clothing, but that's just how he rolls. He's got his leather loincloth and there's some material drapes on the front and the back, but not much else other than you can see a gigantic trident strapped to his back. And there's a short sword strapped to his leg as his second weapon. He looks absolutely psychotic. If you can see there's something in his eye that looks like he's ready to snap at a moment's notice.
Good. Now is the moment, of course, to tell you that there was no real formal psychometric testing as part of your entry process into the order. Good luck. Quietly on the other side of the room is another tall figure, Ophion. What does everyone see when they look at you, and how are you taking this new arrival of the grandfather?
So Ophion is rather large for a humanoid, and you can see immediately he is got the rugged appearance and the kind of light blues, the glass from Frozen North. He's not as buffed as Snappy. He's got some robes with some arcane sigils on it, and he's got like a little rucksack that you can see has got much used large book sticking out of it, lots of notes and bookmarks and things like that. He seems like he would like to go up to the older gentleman, Harold, and ask him if he can make anything to make Harold a bit more comfortable, like a cup of tea or something, or one of the books from the shelves at all, or something like that.
Oh, you are such a lovely gentleman. My, I am just so puffed out. If you could help bring me to a comfy chair, that would make me really comfortable. And if I could just hold on to you for support, I could get to the chair more comfortably. Is that all right?
Ophion is more than to respect the elders, not knowing anything about Harold at all. It seems like you've certainly deserved a nice, comfortable chair by the fire. I know that my grandfather also likes a nice, comfortable chair by the fire. Come on, I'll happily take you to the best seat in the house.
Oh, you are such a doll. Would you like a hard candy? And have pulls out these sickly old hard candies from his pockets that are stuck together.
Don't eat that. The DM isn't in the room, but don't. That's a terrible.
I think you should keep them yourself. I think I can't do the candy myself. It makes me a little bit ill. Yeah.
Oh, well, if you need some, just let me know later. And as Harold is sitting in the chair, he accidentally slips and goes off. And while he's slipping, Harold would like to quickly do a pickpocket into Ophion's chair, see if there's anything of value. Into his pocket, anything nothing to actually just more fun.
So roll the sleight of hand, and Ophion would roll perception.
Okay. Sleight of hand, I think I get a plus. I think, yeah, no, that's a +6 for that. So that's 19 on the die, plus 6 is 25.
So what does he find in your pocket?
Very concerned that Harold is suddenly unsteady on his feet just as he's about to sit down. Like, hey, maybe
high falls risk.
Yeah, maybe you should take one of those little lollies yourself just to give yourself a little bit of a boost.
Oh, I'm getting low blood sugar again. Yeah, maybe I should have some candy. He pops the candy in his mouth.
What does he find in your pockets, Ophion?
He can have a lot of physical wealth, but he's probably got a few bits of notepaper in all of his pockets. The stuff that hasn't fallen through the holes in the base of his pockets, but there'd be various notes on what he's been working on in the last week or so.
Okay, all right. You can write down that you've acquired 2 bits of parchment and 5 copper pieces, and I'll tell you what's on the parchment later.
Sure. And as Harold's sitting down, he goes, "Look, Oleg, thank you so much for your help, son. That was really great. Look, here is some 5 copper, just as a thank you. I insist." And he puts the copper in Opion's hand.
Ophion puts it in his pocket.
Very good. And quietly taking all of this in and probably, I suspect, ruminating over the strange social interactions that he's just observed and why they gave money. One took money from another and then gave it immediately back, is Johnny. So what do the others see when they look at Johnny, and what's he doing in this brief pause?
Johnny 5 is a 6-foot-tall construct standing by the largest stack of books. He had been methodically going through the pages of each book at very high speed, eyes swiveling from side to side, scanning each line, and then when done with each book, sorting it into another pile. To those who are not familiar, he may appear to be Warforged, but to those with plainer lore, you would recognize some of the characteristics of a Modron Plain Touched. Johnny 5 has a tool belt around his waist that has lots and lots of different types of artisan tools and little glass vials. He's also got a staff leaning against him. He does not breathe, he does not blink. He's entirely consumed with going through the data encased in the books and seems to pay little attention to the social interactions in this instance.
Good. That saves Harold from having to explain anything to him at this early point. You can hear the voices in Arek's study have started to sound like the conversation's winding down, and there is a click at the door, which you recognize as the door becoming unlatched. So we're going to step into Arek's study now, hopefully, if the map changes with us. Yay, lucky us. And go back to the map view so I can just make sure that everyone sees the same map. Interesting. Map didn't
It's
change.
coming up on the campaign.
There it is. Yeah, there we go. I just needed to, because it's a shared window and I hadn't actually looked at the shared window. So in the study, and you're all familiar with the study, you've all spent some time at various points in here receiving briefings, and for some of you having perhaps more social interaction with Arek and others. Geez, for an old man who needed help to get from room to room, Harold has moved very quickly. Surprising speed on the halfling. But let me just add the rest of you to the room. There you go. Not in the dungeon, obviously. Be over there somewhere. There you go. So you all pop into the room, and so you're familiar with Arek Valtieri. He's the face of the organization, I guess, as far as you're all aware. And you can see the study is this book-lined chamber. There's a low fire crackling in the hearth. And Arek is sitting at the central table, got his jacket over a chair back and his shirt sleeves. And opposite him is another man, a tall, thin, human, maybe half-elf man, a man of older years who looks almost a little bit jaundiced, dressed in impeccable green velvet, like 5-6-piece suit with gloved hands. And he's sitting there and they're playing chess, as Arek is wont to do, and the tall thin man in his green velvet suit is just moving a piece, and it appears that he has trapped Arek's queen, and Arek doesn't look like he's doing particularly well in the game. Johnny immediately processes the game and realizes moments before the other man says, "That'll be checkmate next move." And Arek sighs and sits back and swirls the glass of whatever he's drinking. It looks like it's something alcoholic. For this time of the morning, perhaps a bit unusual. Harold would recognize the man as Chancellor Oren Salavar. He's one of the 5 or 6 chancellors of the Lord's Alliance. He holds nominally the war portfolio. He's the Chancellor of War for the Lord's Alliance. And he's a man of great repute, not all of it good, but certainly a widely known figure of the Lord's Alliance leadership. And the tail end of the conversation that you hear is, as he's leaving, as this game is winding up, he says, the Black Accord is moving faster than we thought. The fire at the archive, the assassination, the sabotage, they all have the same signature, different tools, but the same hand. And last month, they promised directly that someone of consequence in the city would fall before the turning of the year. And Arik does seem fairly nonplussed. He says, "We hear such threats all the time. This one," Horan says, "was not idle. The masked Lord Vin Mayo has disappeared, and I think this is the Accord making good on its promise. I want you to find out if that's true, and I want it done before the week is out." And at this moment, he realizes that he is no longer alone with Arik. The door is opened, and he looks at you, takes you all in. You all feel very briefly violated by his gaze. And he looks back at Arik and says, "You're associates, I presume." And Arik turns to you and smiles warmly. He seems pleased to see friendlier faces. And the Chancellor is already donning his coat, a thin sort of smirk playing on his lips. And he says, I'll leave you to your work. And he passes you quickly on the way out of the room, and then he's gone, and the door closes with a soft click. So I'll make him disappear. And in the meantime, is anyone doing anything as they come into this space?
I was going to try and leave my tail across the door so that he tripped over it as he left.
Yeah, okay. Sleight of tail? Yeah, let's call it sleight of hand. Or dex, if your dex is...
Sleight of hand is fine.
Yep.
Yeah. It's the same either way. It's a 19.
Yeah. Okay. So this elderly man of a fairly high station does briefly seem to trip and stumble over your tail, and you see just a flash of something in his eyes. Displeasure, humor, something in his eyes before he catches himself and then completely pretends that nothing happened, and he moves on.
I shut the
All
door
right.
behind him.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. So Arik saw your sneaky little trip, and you're not sure, but you think that there was a briefly amused smile on his face as well. But he turns to you, and so Arik is a human, dark hair, very sort of handsome features. I think if you imagine the Ranger from Lord of the Rings, the blast it. It's gone.
Aragorn.
Aragorn, thank you. If you imagine Aragorn, yeah, that's it. If you imagine Aragorn and Jon Snow had a baby, this is what Arik ultimately looks like. And he has this world weariness in his eyes that you've grown accustomed to, and you're all certain that he knows and hears and deals with terrible things on a daily basis. But he's generally a warm and sometimes even kind benefactor to you all. And he smiles to see you all, and you notice that he sets the chessboard aside, and there's a small tray there of the usual goodies, the morning treats, to which you're each accustomed to finding when you come into his office. What is on the table? He's got a little tray there of snacks and refreshments. What does he find?
Just raw fish.
Raw fish. Yep. Okay. Yep. It's finely filleted.
Yeah.
Almost
like
sashimi quality. Yeah. Yep.
Which I do not appreciate. And I just grab a handful of and shove it in my mouth.
There's a bottle of silverback rosé hidden in a bottle of grape juice.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
girl
Okay.
just has some juice.
It's Harold's morning grape juice. Yep. There's already a goblet that you recognize as being yours. Seems to have been prepared for you.
There's some white ice plums from the frozen north, which Finn always appreciates being able to have some. Otherwise,
They're immensely difficult to find too. And like many things smuggled into Waterdeep, you're not entirely sure of the provenance of where they were stored on their secret trip down, but they don't at least taste like anyone else.
And for Johnny 5, no sustenance is offered. He does not need to breathe, eat, sleep, or excrete?
There is an antique looking scroll which you recognize as his offering of more data for you. It's just a piece of literature that he's extracted from somewhere far away and interesting.
That is hungrily devoured then.
He knows. He has a system. He shifts in his seat and he looks at you. That was Chancellor Salavar. If you haven't yet had the pleasure, he will be our benefactor in this particular mission. And hopefully we don't have to see him here for some time afterwards. You heard him mention the Black Accord, and some of you may have heard of some of their supposed deeds over the last 2 years, believed to be a splinter sect of cultists tied to some abyssal being of lost to history, obsessed with masks, particularly silver masks and secrecy and very theatrical actions. They've been linked sometimes loosely, sometimes more convincingly to a handful of incidents, including a fire in a major government building in Mirrorgate, the death of a noble lord in Daggerford, and sabotage here in Waterdeep in the dockyards only last month. For all that, we know almost nothing about them beyond symbols and half-true stories and the occasional frightened witness. That makes them dangerous in the way that when no one can separate rumor from fact, they can be whatever they want. And he sighs and he reaches for a thin dossier and passes it across to you. Harold probably is the first person to have picked that up, probably. And with surprising speed, actually, with quite fast reflexes, the little halfling is halfway through the file before anyone really notices what's going on. Masked Lord Vin Mayo. Masked Lords are the governing body of Waterdeep. There's a number of them who live in anonymity. He's from an old family, old money, a stubborn man, opposed to many of our dear Chancellor's efforts to modernise the government here in Waterdeep and abroad. Some called him a traditionalist, some called him an obstructionist. He was certainly known for his eccentricities. I believe that he once paid a wizard to enchant his dining table so it would only seat 13 guests, no more and no less. But he was also a skilled political operator and not above using secrets to get his way, which means he could have been involved in something unsavory, something that the Lord's Alliance would want dealt with, blackmail, corruption, or whether it is in fact this cult that is driving his disappearance. 2 days ago, he vanished, and his estate in the North Ward of Waterdeep was searched by the Watch and nothing was found. Oren's people went through it as well and still nothing officially found. They've detained the 3 household staff at the estate for further questioning. And I've called you here this morning because I'm tasking the 4 of you with investigating his disappearance, recovering him if he's alive. If he's not, recover what you can, body, evidence, the truth. Most importantly, identify any threats to the Lord's Alliance, to the peace of the realm, and neutralize them. And Arik stands and he pours himself a bit of your grape juice and swigs a little. And if you succeed, he says, you'll have done more than earn your coin for the week. You'll have made friends in high places most people don't even know exist. And Harold pauses. Yeah. No, I was going to say he pauses. He waits for you guys to take it in.
Harold absentmindedly through dossier whilst taking a sip of his grape juice. I'm singing the black mask, the cord, the absolute. There's a new cult every week. Why not just send the Harpers? This is low.
Arik, he nods. Certainly, I don't put a lot of stock in this cult being a real true threat to the realm as perhaps Chancellor does. But the disappearance of this masked lord is poorly timed, and if there is a cult behind it, then we would do well to know about it. And if there's not, it would do me well to be able to reassure the Chancellor that this is not a threat that they need to be worried about currently.
Harold
Uh,
just
I- I-
shrugs and takes a sip of it. I take a sip of his wine and is silent.
Keon like to talk to Arik and ask if there's any particular need for speed in this particular assignment. Is there a vote which the old man was going to be a key part of? Is it
It's
definitely
interesting.
cult related, or is it possibly to do
It's
with the Lord's Alliance?
he looks at you and smiles. A teacher, when the bright student picks up on a thread that perhaps was not the most obvious, he nods. He says, "Yeah, I don't think that the timing is coincidental. That there has been pressure on the masked lords of Waterdeep to give over further powers to the Lord's Alliance, and this Lord Mayo had been one of the staunch opponents of that centralization of power. But he also was a man of unusual proclivities, and if he was indeed threatened by this black accord, then that's something that we have to also consider. If he is alive and he's been missing for 2 days, I fear gravely for his well-being if we take any longer. So yes, I'm sending you straight away to deal with this."
Will we be bestowed a writ of authority in order to investigate and also to ensure cooperation of any law enforcement agents?
He smiles and nods again, because yes, of course, as is customary for your missions and taskings, I have arranged for you to have a fully detailed dossier of the parameters of the mission and your authorizations, and that will be met. You'll be met outside the hall when we're done here by your clauses, your handler for this task. And you'll be accustomed to not going into the field alone for the sigil. There's always someone with you, someone who looks after the logistics and the back end work and the contacts, smoothing the way, and who has all of the appropriate connections and things, so you don't have to spend time sordidly hunting for inns and taverns to accommodate yourself, replenish your weapons. It seems that the sigil manages to take care of that for you. So your handler for this task you haven't met yet, but he has the appropriate paperwork for you.
And in the
Snappy's,
event that the culprit is of high rank or station, how would you wish for us to proceed?
With the utmost discretion, but the nature of our organization is such that we devolve that situational decision making to you as a group. You're chosen here as a group for your. He pauses and then grins a little as he says, "Outstanding moral fiber." He looks briefly at Harold and at Snappy and at Johnny and then Ocean. Looks around the room slowly. But he says that I trust that you will do the right thing to protect lives and safety. You'll do the good thing.
My chassis
Um,
is 95% titanium. There are no moral fibers contained therein.
We'll work on that.
Snappy takes this moment and he's moved over to the window where he's looking out quizzically, and all of the finer subtext of this conversation has sailed completely over his head. And he's got a bit of a furrowed brow and he goes, "Where are these friends?" And he's looking up into the higher place, looking for a high tower. He's really not paid much attention as he's been searching for the high friends and the places that they might be.
Harold looks
Alric,
at Sean. Sorry. I'm at Alric and goes, "Really, this is the best you can muster?"
it's been a busy week. And after that thing with you and the ambassador's wife, I thought it best to set you up with a new crew and let them benefit from your experience. Let you be a bit of a training officer.
Howard just has this like a look of almost disgust. "If you must."
And comes over to Harold and said, "I think we can see Snappy's CV is scarred all over his body, and if he's got this many scars and he's still wandering around, I think we'll be all right."
"All right, as you wish." Again, he cracks his knuckles and actually makes lots and lots of cracky sounds. He has arthritis, of course. He goes, "All right, let's get to work."
As you go to leave the room, Alric nods firmly and kindly almost to each of you, and he pauses and he stops and he touches Harold on the elbow as he goes, and he says, "Leave the wine."
And Harold just puts it, Harold reluctantly puts it back.
Okay. And as you leave, you walk out, you track back your steps through the Bastion Hall of Records, back past the old gnome who doesn't even acknowledge your existence, as you trek out to the outside world of Waterdeep, and you emerge on the street in front of the Bastion Hall of Records, which will join us momentarily when I click the right buttons. There we go. And on the street, you find waiting for you a pair of very pretty black ponies. Big horses, not true ponies. Big war horses hitched to a fancy looking gold wagon. It's gold on the screen. It's in real life, it's more obsidian and pewter tones. It's pretty, and it's not something that you've seen before. Certainly, it's not something that's been on your missions for. This is the problem with Beyond. So you see this horse-drawn carriage and a 4-foot tall goblin in what could only be described as footman's livery. He's wearing this sort of neatly buttoned coat and almost a top hat, smiles at you and bids you greeting and waves you towards the carriage. Says, "Good morrow, sirs. I am Sir Percival Lockridge, Percy, if you find those syllables burdensome. I'm to convey you to your destination and furnish you with the requisite equipment, and should the need arise, extract you from any subsequent unpleasantness. Do step inside." And he puts his silver pommeled cane down and opens the door of the carriage for you. And the cabin smells actually quite pleasantly of cedar and tobacco. And despite the fact that there is a 14-foot crocodile and a modron and a Goliath, it's quite a roomy carriage, or certainly roomier than it would seem from the outside. And the goblin stands on the footplate and points to you. He says, "Your dossiers and paperwork in the compartment to your right. refreshments as requested in the compartment to the left. The middle compartment is for emergencies only. I do hope we won't require it. The upholstery is charmed to resist bloodstains, but if you could avoid testing it, I'd be most grateful. And he delivers this in a very rapid-fire fashion and climbs down from the footplate, closes the door on the carriage, climbs up onto the driver's seat and pulls on the reins, and the carriage pulls away with a sudden surge. In fact, the first corner he takes hard enough for you to slide across the seats and play corners with each other. And very briefly, you have one of your colleagues in your lap, where he shouts, the goblin shouts down through the roof of the carriage to you. Apologies, he says, old habits. I drive with a lot of passengers these days. Now then, I'm taking you to the Lord's estate unless there's somewhere else you want to go.
The estate is adequate.
Very good. Okay. So it's about the better part of an hour to ride from the castle ward through the city, into the North Ward and into the outskirts of the North Ward. And as the carriage slows, a grand manor comes into view. And there's this tall wrought iron gates. There's a neat but not particularly decorative garden. There's a 3-story stone house with ornamental iron balcony and this sort of steep slate roofing. And it looks, if you didn't know it was a noble's house, it would look more perhaps like an orphanage or a sanitarium. Looks more institutional than the pretty manor house. But it is enormous, even for the area of Waterdeep that you're travelling to. As the carriage pulls up and on the ride over, you had the chance to chat with your colleagues and rifle through the paperwork. And as Arik had promised, there is a writ which grants you authority to investigate the disappearance and identifies you as agents of the Lord's Alliance in this particular matter. And they're signed with the Chancellor's signature and official seals. And you're also accustomed to having access to some additional weapons if required on your missions. You find that the carriage is pretty well stocked with routine sort of things like hand crossbows and ammunition and a range of daggers and short swords and rapiers and a small number of health potions. And in fact, there's enough there for each of you to take just one standard health potion if you want to add that to your inventory. And that's probably about what you have time for before the carriage pulls to a stop at the doors of the estate. Does anybody want to do anything on the ride over?
Harold smirks as he's looking at the signature and seal of the Chancellor. He goes, "Heh, dumbass." Holds it up, puts a nose, looking fortune for later.
Johnny 5 is busy using his artificer's tools to assemble what appears to be a small shoulder-mounted flame cannon.
It's a good use
Not
of the
even
time.
remotely unsafe to do in the carriage.
Yeah, Ophi shifts as far away from whatever's going on next to him as possible, especially when getting around the corners. And then he would like to focus on the names and possible occupations of the 3 household staff that have been detained questioning, or the party is going to be meeting them at a certain point. You can just let me know when we know when we get
Yeah. So there are some short notes which appear to have been lifted from a City Watch ledger or journal about the household staff. So there's a housekeeper, Mara Velen. She's an older human lady who the investigators thought was holding something back. They've written that she's very loyal to the household, but knows more than she lets on. Says that she'd heard some men arguing, but didn't know anything had happened and saw nothing abnormal in the morning after when the police arrived or the watch arrived to investigate. There's a footman Ceres. And Ceres, what they've written is that he saw a man leaving the residence the night of the disappearance of the Lord. It didn't look like his lordship, but they have also written ? Drinking on duty ? Not reliable witness. And then the third name that they've written is Brannick. Brannick is the cook, and they've written was told to take the night off ? Found at the Twilight Tavern the next day. Bar staff believe that he was there the whole time, and that's all the information you have about the three household staff.
Presumably, someone did the cooking that night. If the cook was away, we should find out who.
So the cook, the footman, and the housekeeper, and then the Lord, and that was the only 4 people known to have been in the house. His lordship was not one for any particular kind of company. That was certainly not anything that was advertised, publicly known anyway. And it was it's a fairly small staff to maintain the house. So as you arrive, you pull up, the carriage pulls up, and you enter these tall iron gates and approach the estate. It's a single building that dwarfs everything else around it. This 3-story sort of stone structure. There is a small stable which is deserted. There's nothing in it. No horses are kept, and a greenhouse building which looks again in disuse. There's nothing really happening there. It seems dusted and untouched in some time. And the manor itself has these giant oak doors. You arrive, and there are 2 watchmen of the city watch posted there. And they look at you, having arrived in this fairly fancy looking carriage. They look at each of you in turn, and they look slowly more and more confused about what's going on as they scale up and up, and eventually they look at Snappy, and one of them subconsciously puts his hand on his scabbard.
I
Who-
wouldn't do that.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
Johnny
The estate is
5.
closed. And they look at the paperwork and look up at you. Look at the paperwork. Official agents of the Chancellor. You 4.
Affirmative.
Okay. The staff are inside.
Hiring issues.
Yeah, the staff are inside. We haven't seen, nothing's happened in the last day since we secured the estate. No sign of the Lord. It's all very strange. But yeah,
But
feel free to make yourself at home.
are they all in the same room, or are they separated?
Oh no, they've been kept separate. They're kept in their own quarters. And we were using the servants' kitchen for our questioning, but they've been kept in their quarters. And we brought them some bread and water overnight, and we were told that someone was coming, but I don't know what I expected, but I don't think it was this.
Excellent. Peter, Harold, Jens, Percy, and ask them, do you have a spare 3-piece suit on you that I can borrow?
A spare 3-piece suit? He looks at you. One moment, and he steps into the carriage, closes the door, and you can hear rifling is pulling through one of the trunks in that carriage. And he comes back a moment later with this charcoal grey, thick wool material, very finely made vest, coat, and trousers. He offers you a pair of dress boots as well, but they don't look anywhere near as comfortable as your moccasins. And
Please.
and you take the suit, and it seems like it's tailored for you. Seems like it will be a very good fit.
I understand a deerstalker hat is traditional in this situation.
Oh, not for our purposes. All right, let's go have a chat with the housekeeper. I have an idea of how we can get some more information from her. As he starts donning this, and then changing his posture from being hunched over to being polite and professional.
Okay. So you guys enter the house, and to give you a quick lay of the land, in fact, I'll just give you a quick lay of the land. So this is the first floor that you enter, and I won't drag you from room to room, but where's the point and ping gone? Yeah. So you come in here, try and find a person or an alligator. I don't have an alligator symbol. I'll need to get one, obviously, for future game. You guys enter
So they're tiny.
Yeah, this place is enormous. So the doors the main doors to this room
Right, yeah.
are enormous. And you're into this, what would have been probably a grand entryway at the time. But again, it's dusty, it's old, it seems that he sees very few visitors. And you want to talk to the staff? Is that the...
The
Yes.
dust will be useful. It will make signs of forced entry obvious.
For the sake of brevity, you find yourself a space, perhaps the dining room or the staff kitchen or the study. Anyway, you pick a space, and one of the city watchmen goes and fetches the staff each in turn. So we start with the housekeeper, Mara. It's a 50s, 60s-year-old woman, a wiry sort of woman, silver hair in this very high bun, wears this high-collared black dress and an immaculate white apron. And she sits with her hands folded, and she has this very controlled and proper demeanor about her. And she treats the estate as if it's her baby, it's her own. She sits down quietly and looks around at you. What's all this then?
Harold straightens up. He moved everyone's figures to a table so we can roll for role-playing purposes. And he goes, "Oh, Marvell, is that correct?"
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mr. Huggins, and I will be conducting your exit interview today. We also have our head of HR, John E5. Our head of HR, John E5. We have our Orpheon here, who will be documenting the meeting. And we have our head of security, Mr. Malixis, in case we have any issues with aggression. Now,
She seems
first of all,
very confused, but she is a proper lady and she's allowing you to go on.
Now, in light of the Lord's recent departure, we have been informed that there is a potential purchaser who is looking to acquire this property and then turn it into a hotel. So at this stage, we have examined the records of the staff that we are looking potentially retain or leak cold. And I think ultimately, Marvella, based on what we've read from your chart and your discussions with the City Watch, we're afraid that we might have to let you go.
Roll deception.
All right. Let me just...
Is everyone going along with this? If everyone's playing their parts, then you can roll with advantage.
Oh, yeah.
Johnny Five is
Obian's
incapable of
taking
facial
notes, yeah.
expressions. He will go along with it.
Okay, deception is +6.
Snappy's just happy he's the head of security.
So that's 15 on the die, +6 is 21. The other one was a 3, so it was weighted.
She looks at you and you can see her brain puzzling over this information, and very much doubt that his lordship's family would want to part with this place, and certainly if they did, I'm certain that I would be kicked on by the... Yeah, but if you say the deal's been struck, what do you want to know?
Oh, look, I think from our perspective, we've just been told that we need to assess the staff and see who would be best suited for this new business venture. And there are just some discrepancies in the reports from the City Watch that give us a bit of pause. As you can imagine, in our new establishment, we do value loyalty as well as honesty. And honestly, these concerns from City Guards, they're concerned that you're not being truthful, and it makes us a little bit concerned too about keeping you on if that's the case. Especially if Lordship is missing and potentially you are covering something up. This would be extremely a huge liability. Actually, I hope you understand. Now, if you can clear some of this information up for us, then, and maybe we could potentially talk to the City Watch, update the statement, and perhaps we can keep you on in this estate. And perhaps again, if we find your lordship, this discussion might not even be necessary if he'd be happy to keep, and if he would retain property.
She sighs, and you see her have a moment, and she reaches a decision clearly, and she says, "It was late the night before last. I was in the kitchen. They were downstairs. I didn't hear every word, but there was talk, more than one voice. Something about a circle, something about judgment, a cry, a man's cry, and then nothing. It's not the first time that odd noises have come from downstairs. And it's not the first time his lordship has asked me to send the staff home or away so that he could have more privacy. I don't know what he does with those men. I don't want to know. But when the morning came, he was gone."
I see. And so you said you heard a cry. Are you sure that was not your lordship's, or was it someone else?
It was cut short. I don't know. And I was in the kitchen, which is, it's not close. The other side of the house, potentially.
I see. And by any chance, you know what guests were available last night?
I didn't see anyone enter.
Okay. Now, Harold turns the rest of the group and goes, "Does our head of HR, our scribe, or our head of security have any more questions for Miss Marvellin before we return her to the quarters and then perhaps have a chat with the City Watch about a future?"
When attending to your duties in the morning, how many sets of glasses and meals were left out?
His lordship didn't take a meal that night. We sent the cook away. He often doesn't eat when he's working late. So there was just myself and the household staff. I have no idea how many were with him. We don't enter the Lord's study, much less the chamber downstairs.
So there were no glasses for perhaps serving brandy or wine left out?
No.
And was the furniture in disarray?
No, it all seemed like it had been barely touched.
Did your lordship have any personal communication devices, perhaps magical ones, downstairs?
If he did, I didn't know about them.
What time was he last overheard by you?
The sounds would have been There was maybe an hour of conversation that escalated, and then the scream and silence would have been just before the middle of night.
And what were your whereabouts between midnight and in the morning when you found the Lord was missing?
I tidied some of the rooms that his lordship had used during the day, and I made myself a simple supper because we'd sent the cook to have the night off, and I went to bed. His lordship, when he has the late night activities, he insists on his privacy, and I know better than to go poking.
Did you tidy up a pile of dust or ash approximating a human body volume?
She blinks for a moment. No. What do you think happened to him?
We are just undergoing a formal inspection of the property to look for any potential causes or anything that might impinge on this business venture, such as potentially the death of the unfortunate passing of one's proprietor. Of course, that makes the business venture less wide. This is just standard procedure.
Okay. In the interest of brevity and time, is there anything else you want to know from her?
Are there any secret passageways or alternate access points to the building?
As she says, and you get the impression when she's talking about downstairs, you're on the ground floor of the house.
Yeah.
When she talks about downstairs, it's with this odd reverence. She's not talking about the cellar or the larder or whatever. There's obviously some kind of downstairs chamber that his lordship has access to. But otherwise, she's not aware of any other pathways or passages into or out of the house.
What is your understanding of the whereabouts of the other staff during the night that your lord went missing?
The footman was here. He had been working early the morning, so he had taken an early supper and some ale, and I didn't see him after sundown until the next morning. And the cook, his lordship, had me send him with his week's wages to the tavern, to the Twilight Tavern that he is so fond of. Your volume is really low, and I turned it up before,
Yeah.
but yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
it's
So
mic-
you,
Sorry, I'll just put my mic up.
yep, yeah, I got the gist of that, which is that she says that she was cleaning. The house doesn't look like it's been super cleaned. Yeah, you get the impression just looking around the place that probably would look a lot worse if someone wasn't tidying it all the time, but it's an enormous place, and it would have probably in its heyday had a staff of 10 or 15 housekeepers and maids to keep it tidy, and Mara is all that's left, and she's just treading water.
Okay. And is the footman who usually greets the guests, Mara, or is the
Yes,
Lord
yeah,
inclined to greet himself?
he would normally greet any callers or guests, but last night he had retired early after his supper. So if there was a guest, then his lordship must have met them and brought them in himself.
And she's knowledgeable that her lord is one of the masked lords of Waterdeep.
She is aware of his importance and station, but it's not something that they talk about or acknowledge. As far as the house is concerned, he's just a rich noble dude.
If we flourish the documents from the Lord's Alliance that Arik has given us, is that will make her more inclined to take this more seriously. We think we think possibly he might be killed. That's our concern. It's time to lay all the cards on the table. If there's anything you can tell us
So you're not buying the property?
Mr. Tuggins represents certain interests, but we as a whole represent
I'm so
others.
confused. She seemed puzzled. Maybe that she's realizing maybe she was taken in, but she doesn't have anything more to offer you. And I guess that's, you all get the strong sense that there's probably not much more that she can add on anything that you've asked her about specifically. You take the time to question the footman and the cook as well. So the footman is a young, nervous, easily flustered guy. He's in his early 20s. Keeps looking around. It looks like he's expecting someone to appear, sees Snappy, and just immediately clams up, and you can only get like single word answers out of him. And when you really push, he says he did see someone. There was a single tall male figure who left through the Serpent's Door at or around midnight on the night that the Lord vanished. And he didn't recognize the man, but he was wearing a dark cloak with an odd clasp that seemed fairly ornate. And he has been told twice in the last 2 days by strangers who've come up to him, who've warned him to stay quiet or else. But you can't get him to describe them or the setting that he interacted with them in. He's scared shitless. And the cook is a 40-something-year-old half-orc. These sort of thick forearms, and he wears a stained apron, and his smells faintly of ale and smoked meat. And he's a very chatty guy. And it's actually quite hard to keep on topic. He knows all the gossip about everyone and everything, but seems to not know very much about what happens in his lordship's private time. He's the one who gets sent away because I guess his lordship thinks I'm a bit of a blabbermouth that can't be trusted. So he sent me to the pub. I had a pint, or I had several pints. And then I woke up in the storeroom there. The strangest thing, someone had paid my tab in full. But that's all he can tell you, really. Unless you guys had specific questions for any of them.
We should ask the footman what is his understanding of the whereabouts of his two co-workers on the evening.
He can tell you, so he knows that the cook was given the night off. And he can tell you that he heard Mara shuffling about the kitchen and tidying late in the evening, probably close to midnight. And then nothing after that.
Was anything out of place in the house when you arrived?
Not that he recalls, no. Neither of them can really put their finger on anything being particularly out of place or odd.
Howard goes to Footman. I think in our vast organization, we might have a role for another footman far away from anyone who could potentially harm you and give you a new identity, a new place to stay. I think that would you like this opportunity?
Well, it's like witness protection. You guys look pretty serious. He looks around at you all and keeps looking at Snappy.
We're all good friends here.
And I don't know
You'll
if
get your
you're
own Snappy too.
Oh,
You said that you saw some odd class. Can you describe it for us, draw for us?
and he does in a sort of a childlike way. He draws what looks like a castle's crenellations, like the top battlements of a castle. And he said it was silver, this clasp, and this castle sort of shape was embossed on it. It was quite odd. He's never seen anything quite like it, and it stood out. It really reflected the light. But everything else about the man was very nondescript.
Okay. I think this is a very fruitful conversation. we'll be in touch about your new job opportunities.
My protection.
I think something can be arranged. And in his downtime, Harold is going to forward a letter from the Chancellor offering his nat protection in Baldur's Gate City. It says Harold likes the challenge. And also he doesn't want to break. He gave someone his word and thinks someone's like a risk for it to be an easy fix. The Chancellor would have to be the one explaining, but he's the guy who would be very far away from home.
Very good. All right. Anything else that you want to do while you're here in the manor?
Johnny 5 will take Harold aside and explain, if the culprits have ongoing contact with the Footman in order to threaten him to silence, there may be some benefit in spreading word that the Footman has information for us. Then we can use him as bait in a location that we have planned in an ambush site, thereby locating the conspirators.
Harold thinks about this and goes, I like the idea, but I don't want to put this man in any harm's way. So if we were to do this, I think we would need to get him out of the city first, then spread the story. And then he sized up OCR. No, do we have a human? Perhaps we have any human compatriots that we can use.
Ian wonders aloud at Huggins. You mean use me as bait, or are we finding someone else as bait?
Harold signs Ophion up, looks at the guy, and then it looks like a similar-ish enough build.
Ophion is quite large.
Yeah,
He's
Ophion.
Goliath.
Ophion tries to stand
sure.
up a little bit taller as well. Just this conversation's going on.
Yeah, just
Maybe the assistant from who's been assigned to us can find such a body double.
that could work. Pay them gold, tell them to just go a certain way. Okay, I think we can make this work. And he start, yeah. So I think that's a possibility, but let's get him out of the city first and plan it down.
We should also complete an inspection of the site to see if there's any signs of foul play or disturbed dust that may tell us about boot prints or comings and goings.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Who wants to film the investigation of the house?
Johnny 5 volunteers.
All right. You roll investigation with advantage because you're all presumably investigating. 24. That'll do it. So you spend the better part of several hours combing through the house. So on this floor, there's the foyer, there's a study, there's a saloon, dining room. Upstairs, there's a number of bedrooms, including the servants' quarters. You find a wine cellar and a larder that are both downstairs and accessed externally from the kitchen, but neither of those seem to be the place that Mara was referring to when she talked about downstairs. You find a number of other bits and pieces on your travels, and I'll drop them in the chat for you later in terms of things that you might have found interesting or useful but aren't particularly relevant to tonight's storyline. And in searching the Master's library, it becomes clear that there's a door concealed by a bookcase, and that takes you downstairs, takes you to a room in a basement, and it opens into, just trying to work out where I am in this map. So this stairwell takes you down and you end up in this candlelit room, which appears to have a single door leading into another chamber. And the door is closed and heavily locked.
All right, so Harold goes to the door and then, look, first of all, looks for any obvious traps.
Yeah, roll investigation or perception, your choice.
Perception. Let's have a look. That's 13 on die plus is 16.
16. It doesn't appear to be trapped.
Okay. Harold will then attempt to lockpick the door.
Yep. Thieves' tools
So-
or sleight of hand. Yep.
I'll use my
And you can use your black tool.
special item, my black seal multi-tool, which is a thieves tool, but +1 of sleight of hand checks. And I can reroll ones.
You're a
Which is
halfling, so I
perfect.
think you can re-roll ones anyway.
That's true. But it was perfect because I literally just got a 1. So let's do that
There
again.
you go. They would have snapped. You
Holy
singular tools
shit.
would have snapped.
That 2 1s in a row.
Okay. Snap. But the door doesn't budge.
Okay, so Harold goes, my damn arthritis is playing up again. Harold then
Can I
calls
kick
to
the
Snappy.
door in?
Yeah, Harold's gonna go, Snappy, can you? And then
I just do it. I do it. As he
Strength.
fails, I'm kicking.
Roll the strength.
It's
15 will do it. The lock is the most heavy part of the door. You enter the room, and what you find is the day and a bit old body of a older human man who matches the description and portrait that you've been given of the Lord Mayo in what appears to be a circle of runes and markings that have been added to the floor. The candles have burnt themselves down by this time around the circle. And there are markings and other glyphs scattered around the room of all of similar color and styling. There is another door off to the side there that is open, and on inspection, that room also has some ritualistic sort of markings in it, but nothing else.
Are the markings and glyphs covered in dust, or do they appear recent?
They are fresh.
Do we remember any paint of similar color on the hands of the servants?
No.
Harold just sighs and goes, cultists. Bloody cultists. And
Johnny Five does not think the butler did it.
Can we see how he was killed?
Yeah, you're going to roll medicine or investigation.
I roll in investigation. That disrupt the ritual circle, but he tries to get it as a detailed look as possible at the body.
With a 20 for investigation, you can see that his neck is split from ear to ear, and in fact, it appears that he was deliberately exsanguinated, and some of the markings, some of the glyphs appear to be drawn in his blood. He doesn't appear to have any other wounds of any significance. There's no obvious defensive wounds. It's just a single wound to the neck.
Harold,
Is there a
Johnny
weapon?
Five would like to arcana check.
What are you arcanaing?
The significance of the setup, the pentagram, and all
Yeah,
the color.
Arcana or history.
And would like to lend some assistance so that he can flip through his book that he pulls out of that.
Any of you speak Abyssal?
No.
Pretty sure that no one does.
Ian, if he has time, if we have,
Comprehend languages.
as a ritual, but I didn't.
Yeah, you guys have spent plenty of time here. So if you had it prepared, you could,
Oh,
you certainly have the
it's a
time.
ritual, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't
so,
decode symbols or secret messages, but I can translate any written language.
Yeah. So you recognize, with the benefit of comprehend languages and the history roll between you, you're able to determine that the circle seems incomplete. There are some markings that are missing to make a complete message that would make sense. The markings are certainly abyssal in origin. They appear to have been placed by the same person as a single set of handwriting, and they have to do with blood. They have to do with balance and fate. That's what you're able to piece together from what's there. It seems, from an Arcana perspective, it seems like there was something powerful being performed, but it's not complete. It's unclear what's going on.
Does it
So it
look
looks
like
like
it was
the-
done by a professional spellcaster or by someone trying to fake something arcane?
It's not clear with this. Yeah, with a, what was it, 16, I think it was?
18.
18, yeah. With an 18, it's not clear. It certainly, the runes are well shaped, but it could have been someone copying from a script or parchment. It doesn't really, it's not clear to you one way or the other.
And does it look like I can't remember if you said the ritual looked like it had been completed or not.
No, it looks like there's something missing.
And is it the ritual circle that the body's within? Does any part of it look like it's been there before? Is the new blood like been added to something that's already been there for a while? And does it match any of the symbols in the second room?
So the symbols in the other room also match there, but they're all fresh, and they're all either in this sort of luminous red chalk-like substance, or they're in his blood. Nothing appears. There doesn't seem to be anything particularly old in the room, but I guess to know, you'd have to scrub away at it and see.
Is there any sign of like disturbance, like the person was interrupted and left hastily?
No, there's nothing else. And as far as dust and footprints and things go, there's no obvious tracks or markings or point of exit. It appears the only way in and out was the way that you've entered through the study, and the door was locked, and nothing seems to have otherwise been disturbed or hastily left.
Could the
Is there
blood markings have been performed with a magic hand spell?
It's possible.
And is there any? So Harold just looks around, trying to see if there's any kind of rats hidden in this basement area.
You say rats?
Rats. It's like it's
No.
amazing. No.
Yeah, no, it's a surprisingly well sealed space. It's not a storage space as such. There's other things around the space. There are empty crates, and there are some papers and things on a workbench, but the space is largely this empty, fairly clean compared to the rest of the house space. And it's not clear to you what the use of this space was, other than the ritual circle, if that was pre-existing or not. But it's not there's no rodents to speak of. It's quite clean and well kept.
Harold
We should ask her.
What is it? This is clearly a murder basement.
Opie and
We
nods.
should ask our assistant for a speaks with dead scroll.
Oh, that's a brilliant idea. And Harold reaches for his sigil to try to cast a message to the assistant.
Yes, Mr. Harold, sir.
Could you please provide us a speak with dead scroll if available?
A scroll of speak with dead, sir. Yes, I'll get straight onto that for you. I'll be back to you shortly.
Excellent.
Are we
Thank you.
certain? Are we certain this is who we're looking for and not just some other person?
With a 20 investigation, yes. Yeah, you saw the dossier about his physical characteristics, including some things that weren't widely known or publicized. Birthmark of his aunt's face on his buttock or something like that. It's very clearly him.
I was hoping we could bring the housemaid down here just to check.
Is there any reason why we can't arrange for him to be resurrected or raised?
That's very expensive.
He is a lord.
Why?
It looks like he was down on his luck with regards to money, unfortunately. When I noticed the picture of the aunt's face on his buttock, did I happen to any other information or pieces of paper or significant jewelry items or anything?
No, there's
Straight
not
to the
wearing
buttock.
any. Yeah, correct. That's the general performance
That's
of
the
a
first.
postmortem
That's the first
exam.
rule
Yeah,
of looking at a body. We'll check the buttocks.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. Sure. DR buttocks. Yep.
Prostate symmetrical.
Which tool on the tool belt was used for that, Johnny?
No.
Oh dear.
Thieves tool
No.
with a lockpick.
I use a live thief. You better not be using live thief souls.
At this point, Percival's voice crackles from your sigil pin. He says, "Yes, Mr. Harold, sir. I've managed to source the scroll in question. Will it be some hours before it will be available for us? But I'll have it delivered here this evening."
Fantastic. Good work, Percy. And he hands up.
Should we bring each of the servants down here one at a time and see their reaction to the scene?
Up to there, we could do that. But at the same time, while we're all waiting for things to happen and the scroll, maybe we could find a body double as well for our friend who's going to go away for some time.
Correct, and we probably shouldn't bring the footman down here if we wish for him to cooperate.
And besides the ritual circle and everything, is there any other evidence of, like, on the indestructible lock pick or the lock in the store, is there any sign of the red bloody handprint on the inside going out? Or
No.
Harold can tell if it's locked from the inside or the outside?
With consecutive ones, Harold can't tell shit. He had too much wine.
Yeah. Alright.
Or not enough wine.
Not enough wine. Maybe having a hard-boiled sweet will bring you to your senses, Harold. And there's the investigation looked at both this room and
Yeah, so your investigation down here, I just took it as 20 for the whole downstairs space. So you've looked around. There's not much to tell you what this space was otherwise used for, and the ritual circles as we described. So in the meantime, you've sent Percival to try and locate a suitable human body double. And in talking to when you questioned the cook, who was the gossip, he and the footman both frequent the same tavern. And that would be where he suspects these threats, or these people who threatened the footman were. Went to have a drink before he was detained, and that was where he was confronted, he thinks. And if you did choose to bring the household staff downstairs, other than cementing their PTSD, there was no further information that they should have done. Good. The household staff are asking about whether they can be released now that you're done with their questioning.
Unfortunately, I covered the lot, and Harold looks at Otheona while this is happening. So I think we might have to keep them detained for a little bit longer until we can source more information. I think the cook will be fine the cook and the housekeeper will be fine to leave alone. The footman, we will need to get him out of there ASAP. So I will make a forgery of the writ of passage,
I have a suggestion, Fess.
Oh, Johnny, do tell.
We hold the footman. We tell the cook and we tell the housekeeper that the footman has information and has identified the killer and is planning on telling us as soon as a deal arises. We release the cook, we release the housekeeper. They will then go and blab at the tavern.
Johnny Vive, we're all forged. You have a surprisingly good insight into operations planning.
It is only logical.
even for a man of the North, Ophian thinks that Johnny is a cold man.
We'll also while we're procuring the body double, we'll also find a way to spirit away and out of the city.
Okay. Percy is able to confidently tell you that if that's what you want to do, then he can make that footman disappear. And don't worry about any unnecessary forgeries of official government documentation, particularly official government documentation that Percy was responsible for providing to you. He looks knowingly at you. And
Be disappointed now. He was hoping for a challenge.
and then he can organise for the footman to be disappeared.
I disappeared with me alive, disappeared, not dead, disappeared. Just the
He takes notes on that particular point of clarification. Alive. He crosses out something on his paper. And it's, okay. In the meantime, we're waiting for the scroll to arrive. We're procuring a body double. You're going to tell the cook and the housemaid that the footman's been cooperative, and then let them loose on the world.
But we got to tell them not to leave town because there's an active police investigation. I think that step 10 after looking at the buttocks. Tell the suspects not to
Don't leave town. Yep.
Don't leave town. Go to the
Okay.
pub, but don't leave town.
Okay.
Here is the money for the pub. Drown your PTSD in your fermented vegetable products.
Jim would just like to scrub away some of the fresh blood and see if there was anything underneath to see if this is not the first ritualistic circle. As John has
gonna be
pointed out, what other
investigation.
what other purpose is this room? Like,
Yeah. It is odd, isn't it? I guess I think that's gonna be investigation. There's not really like a scrubbing away thing. Yes, yeah, investigation, unless anyone thinks of anything better.
Roll for cleaning.
Yeah.
the only
Well,
cleaning that's been done in this house for the past few weeks.
Oh, judgy.
oh, shots fired.
There's dust everywhere. Specifically, there's dust everywhere. 13. There's too much dust. I managed to scrub away a little bit, but I can't tell if I've smudged a line that's old or anything.
It's not clear. It wipes away pretty easily, but you get the impression that if that wiped away easily, anything that was there underneath it would have also wiped away at the same time. But no obvious clues. Certainly it's not etched into the ground or anything like that. Okay, so the cook's pretty happy to go off to the pub. He's pretty thrilled about that. And in fact, he trundles away immediately to the pub. Mara goes back to her room, and presuming you've told them that the Lord is dead, she seems fairly heartbroken about that. In an employer-employee relationship, codependent kind of way.
And Ophian remembers the dossier saying that possibly the housekeeper is withholding some bit of information, but obviously his insight into things has not elicited that. He is going to talk with Johnny and Harold and Snappy and sees like this. I'm sure in the dossier there was something about this housekeeper withholding some information.
So the existence of the downstairs chamber had been completely withheld. She hadn't talked about that that's the bit that was withheld entirely, which is why the body hasn't been discovered until now.
Snappy open.
The door need to be replaced.
Because, the lock was broken.
Okay. So shall we move on to planning this sting operation with the body double?
Did you just let the cook go? He's gone?
It's a question.
We told him not to leave town.
Yeah, went to the pub on his own.
Should we
Shall
follow
we?
him?
Yeah, that was the thing.
He's probably going to go to the tavern.
And he's probably going to tell everyone there. The question is, do we see anyone? Should we go there and see if anyone witnesses anything? Was anyone just dash off afterwards, act sneaky? Or should we just plan out the operation and then see if whoever tries to assassinate him approach him at the body?
Johnny 5 and
I like-
Elixirs should remain near the footman's room so that if anyone comes to assassinate him, we will be on hand to apprehend them.
Not help them. I just want to kill someone. There's a
Oh,
lot of
Snappy?
talking.
Falling
Okay. Snappy? How about...
Worst session for the barbarian ever.
Okay. How about we stage the body double to walk through the street, Snappy? You tail him. We'll give you a head of security outfit that makes it very clear that you are a figure of authority and that if anyone needs to get to the start, they need to go through you first.
I don't like you or your tone, but I like what you're saying.
Would that not discourage any potential conspirators from approaching the target?
I can hide.
successfully.
I feel that if we don't, okay, Harold pulls Johnny inside and goes, if we don't feed Snappy something, he's going to eat one of us. And it's certainly not going to be the metal thing or the Goliath isn't cooperative. It's going to be the halfling. He could eat in half.
Harold, roll an insight check.
Okay, let's see. I think it's just 7 or 18.
Yeah, you're pretty sure that you're mostly bone and sinew at this point, and you would have see of little nutritional value.
Boy,
There is a dead nobleman downstairs. He is probably 60% body fat.
cool. Maybe a nighttime snack after we get a cleared. Let's just go for it. Let's do the body double plan.
Okay. Percy procures a local street seller who looks passably Footman, and he says that they've reached an agreement over cost, and this man is happy to do as you instruct him to do for one day, on the promise that he is not likely to be killed.
Comment.
Someone else is better at lying about this than he is.
We will ensure that you will be paid for your work.
Okay. All right. He looks like he's pretty down on his luck. He'll take what is an obvious omission in the conditions, and he's on board. All right. What are you gonna do?
All right. So Snappy, Mr. Head of Security, can you escort this man everywhere to the police station?
We're going to the police station?
Civil City Watch, to make it look like he's, what's the word? He's cooperating.
Sure.
Okay. So
Do that.
Snappy's going to take him to the City Watch.
Do we want me
Just-
looking more official? I do have several costumes that I can put on.
I'm sure that in the time it's taken you guys to plan this, you've picked the most auspicious looking costume from your entertainer's kit, and you look thoroughly professional. In fact, you look a lot like a city watchman now, like a really leathery, long-tailed, cannibalistic looking watchman. Yes. Yeah. Just Snappy's taking the guy.
If we put the watchman impersonator in a carriage, then we have an excuse for all of us to be there as we are accompanying the carriage.
That works too.
Okay. Everyone gets in the carriage. We're going to the barracks.
We should take the scenic route.
Okay. So you tell Percy, you give Percy the gist of the plan, and you take this street urchin on a tour of the North Ward and the Castle Ward and back slightly through the North Ward because nothing's really happening. And at some point, Percy shouts down to you, and my lords, is something supposed to happen soon, or it's getting fairly late, and I don't know if you were hoping something might happen by now. It seems like things really happening.
Perhaps we should bring him to the local tavern so that he can imbibe some fermented vegetable products and unwind after his traumatic experience on the way to the guardhouse.
As
Well, that's
you
cool
do with
one.
your protected witnesses. Yep. Okay. To the Twilight Tavern. And it's close to sunset by the time you arrive at the tavern. And it's not a popular destination. Some of you are passingly aware of the venue, but I don't think anyone's particularly been here before. It's not raucous by any stretch of the imagination. There's a dwarven woman running the bar. She nods as you all enter and goes back to cleaning the bar. And there's a half a dozen people around the place drinking, and couple of people sitting on their lonesome. You see the cook in conversation with a stranger, but nothing obvious catches your eye as you arrive.
We should sit our footman in the corner so that he's not easily recognized as an imposter by the cook.
I agree. And we should also spread out as well. So that way we aren't all bunched together.
Perhaps at least one of us can look inconspicuous and non-threatening, or even elderly.
That, I think I can manage that. And Snappy, just make sure that this Footman, that you protect this person and also stop them from leaving. And if anyone tries to hurt him, you can hurt them back.
Good.
Harold would then find a commoner who looks like he's like drunk, but also huge and boisterous, and coach him and say, if nothing happens in the next hour, he goes, in about 2 hours time, if nothing happens, I want you to go towards that dragon lord over there and punch him in the face as hard as you can. I'm certain that he will enjoy it, and an extra 20 gold for you if he goes down.
20 gold to punch the dragonborn.
No, so there's 5 gold in it. If you punch him in the face, there's an extra 20 if he goes down. But you have to wait 2 hours. Okay?
You pay me the 5 gold now?
I'll pay you I'll put you a down payment of 1 gold for now, 20%.
Okay. All right.
Okay? I'll mark that off.
Okay. All right. So who's watching the cook? Who's watching the footman? I've arbitrarily placed you around the room, but feel free to adjust.
So where is
and I'll give you a footman token.
the footman? Should be Snappy in the corner.
No. Do you want him next to me? I feel like people are going to come near him. Yeah, because I can see him there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, let's check the footage. Can you get through 30 feet? Maybe be within 30 feet. Might be good.
I'll sit over here.
Yeah. Surprisingly, that still was 70 feet.
The scale might be off on my map.
Ovian wants to sit
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
suspiciously
somebody
close to
big.
the cook, but wants to be close enough that if there's any raised voices at the cook's table, we can hear something, and then suggest maybe Harold can also see what the cook is currently talking about.
Harold has eyes on the footman, the cook, and also who's coming from upstairs in the entrance. So he's happy in his little area over here.
Okay. All right. So all of you guys roll a perception check for me. Group perception check.
14.
It's okay. Right. Just despite his hunger, Snappy is paying lots of attention. He's anxiously waiting for the fight to happen. Ocean and Johnny really don't process a huge amount. People come and go, but nothing really jumps out as alarming. Harold, you notice about the same time that Snappy does, a figure enter the bar and look around and look at the cook, deep in conversation with someone, look around and seemingly clocking the cook and the footman, recognizing them both. And then he seems to step behind the bar and down a ladder out of sight. Snappy, with your 18, there was something about his cloak and the shiny clasp on it that seemed familiar to you. So he ducked down somewhere here.
Sure.
Harold with his fingers on his sigil and cast a message to the group. Eyes up on target. Eyes up on target. behind and that's gone down to the basement. Should we start? Should we pass down and follow him and get and dismiss this person?
We should have someone, possibly Percy, stay with the footman in case this was unrelated.
Not a bad idea, in case it happens. How about I stay with the footman? I stay with the footman to keep an eye on him while the rest of you go and investigate.
Good idea. Snappy is a very proficient thief and is good at opening doors.
Well reasoned.
Ian eventually finds the bar that everyone's talking about with his low perception roll. He got distracted a little bit by going through the receipts in his pocket.
Shit.
Ophian's receipts are all in Harold's pocket.
That's why he's
Oh.
confused. He's actually looking for them.
Okay. So what's the order? So it's a ladder down into a small room that's candle lit. So you're going to have to climb down the ladder one at a time.
How long is it? The drop.
It looks like a single story.
Who has Harold on his tip, holding the sigil and just keeping contact. And let's message me if there's an attack. I'll come down. Also, who has night vision here? A thought vision.
I do.
Snappy, I think you got. Snappy, I think you should take the lead.
Yeah. I was just going to jump down.
Yeah, you clear that. Yeah, it's not even a big jump for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a problem. So you make that easily.
He's gonna wait until Snappy has gone into the next room before he makes his way down.
I've also got my trident in my hand. It's not slung anymore.
Okay.
Johnny Five will bring a torch with him, and he will hold his flamethrower cannon in the other hand.
Okay. So get some tokens again. Snappy jumps down. Anybody tokens? Nope. Snappy jumps down. Nope. Okay. Oh, that's never mind. I'm an idiot. There's now like 3 Snappies that have appeared. Okay.
Multi-snappy.
Multi-Snappy. Yeah, it's Snappyception. Snappy followed by, who did we decide was next?
I think it was young and then Johnny Five.
Johnny 5.
Yeah,
Harold
Ophian
hanging
would
out
like to
upstairs.
go almost towards the end. He'll wait
You
until
can sit near the back somewhere. Got it.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So there's a grilled barred door that appears to be closed, and you can hear voices on the other side.
Is it locked?
You try.
I just try and open it.
Yeah, it opens. Here's someone who's played D&D before.
Let's just. I just push the door open and walk in.
Okay. Everyone roll initiative, except for Harold, who doesn't know yet that anything is happening.
Barbarians really are really good at opening doors, aren't they?
Oh God, so amazing! Actually,
That's
campaign's
Melix's aka door opener.
Okay.
Initiative.
22 for Johnny 5. Snappy's an 18. Urshion is a 19. Wow, you guys rolled pretty good. Okay. So, well, you guys are all going to go first. So, Johnny, you're up. Here's Johnny.
Johnny Five will message the team members. Cultists found downstairs. Try to keep the one with the clasp alive. The others are less important. Johnny Five will position himself so that the 3 cultists are in a delightful cone shape in front of him, and will then activate both his flame cannon and a cast of burning hands.
Okay. So, roll the... Hang on. The Burning Hands is touch? Or is it you've got some magical artificer? I don't think I've ever played with an artificer before.
I think
Because,
Burning Hands is
Johnny
sort of
Five-
firing.
It is a code.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's going to be DC 13 for me to dodge, to get half damage.
DC 13 to dodge. Okay.
Where are you standing? And am I in the way?
I will assume that you've cleared the
there.
doorway.
Sweet, you can do cones in this as well.
Okay, there you go. And DC 13, so deck saves.
That's correct.
Succeeds. Fails. 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 Okay.
Oh,
14 damage.
And now for the flame cannon by my bonus action.
Is it dead?
Yep. Yep, you killed them all. Yep. They were largely incinerated.
Another successful mission.
Just. He did say eliminate any threat.
he also said to keep one of them alive.
Yeah, the other one.
Oh, Johnny, there is hard
Johnny, I really think we needed to keep Snappy happy on this one. Can you? We need that scroll of Speak of Dead or possibly Revive Dead to give Snappy something to do.
What to kill?
Howard goes, "Don't worry, guys, I got you covered." And he just nods at, and he nods at the guy standing behind the bar, waiting, patiently punch Snappy in the face.
Snappy's downstairs, man. The guy's taken your gold and left.
Oh,
Okay. Sorry, so
Sid
flame
Map,
cannon damage.
If they are they really dead?
Yeah. So those three cultists
The
literally caught flame and died in screaming, burning heaps. And then his 10 points of damage. Is it a roll to hit your Eldritch Cannon, or is it?
No, it was a DC 13 area effect attack. Again,
Oh, it's another area
another
effect
cone.
attack. Okay. Right, let me roll for his deck save again. Yeah, no, he fails. God almighty. Need to actually roll real dice. Okay, how much damage did he take? 10. Okay. That's your turn. Any movement?
No further movement is necessary from Johnny 5. I think he's made his point.
He briefly just blows on the end of his smoking flame cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That brings us in the order to Ocean.
Ophian can't see the map, but Ophian would like to use a first level spell
Apologies.
slot.
Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. To cast Grease, where it can be maximally effective, possibly under the Cultist. So it's a 10-foot square, non-flammable. So under the Cultist is going to be in the closest square. So I want to leave space for Snappy to be able to get up and personal without tripping over. But Grease, I'll need the Cult Fanatic to make a Dex 13 saving throw or fall prone.
Yeah, good. He's been doing so well at that so far.
Yeah.
11.
He falls prone. And it is difficult terrain for the duration, which is 1 minute. And Ophian's going to step back into the other room.
Okay.
So step in and then cast it and then step
Yeah,
back.
and then step back. Okay. Is that concentration, Grease, or is it?
It's not.
Good. Okay. Very good. And that brings us to Snappy.
And we don't want him dead, do we?
It's time. It's time, Snappy.
The problem is that I can't kill him.
Sure.
Huh?
Master.
I'm going to rage. And I'm so mad that I can't kill him and that everybody is already dead that I drop my trident and I jump on top of him and just punch him as hard as I can.
Hey, roll an unarmed attack.
What's unarmed? Where is it gone? Do I get to roll that as an advantage? I can't remember how. I've never played a barbarian before. Is that only reckless attack?
Yes, you can go reckless.
Yeah, can I reckless attack it?
Yeah, no, so it's a melee attack and he's prone, so you have advantage.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Don't even need to reckless attack.
Oh my god, it's a double 9.
Okay. All right. You're just enraged, but covered in grease. So a grease crocodile is flailing at this guy who is just having a really shitful day, but he seems to manage to dodge both of those. Got anything else in you? No, you use your bonus action to rage.
That was my bonus
so-
to rage.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That brings us to the cultist's turn. Okay. Snappy, can you roll a wisdom saving throw?
Oh yeah, good. That's gonna go well.
That's
It's a 13.
Is that a check? Or no, your saving throw should be higher than that, shouldn't it? Or are you...
Oh, actually, it might not be because it's a barbarian.
yeah,
I've got a
no, sure.
-1.
Yeah, okay. No, disregard. Okay. And you're part of the Berserker, which I don't think gives you anything particularly with a rage effect for wisdom. Okay. This cultist turns to you and there's this glimmering symbol at his neck, this clasp. And it is this clasp that looks like a castle, but it just spins briefly and it catches your eye a little bit. And you almost don't hear him say the word betray. But it just binds into your brain. You just hear this and the whisper starts to echo in your brain. For the next turn, you are charmed and you will, whatever the word betray means to you, you can act upon that on your next turn. And he's in difficult terrain. So he's going to try and get up and use half of his movement to get up. And then he's going to try and take some cover on the other side of this grease pit. Which is 5. Yeah, he barely makes it out of the grease. Okay. And that brings us back to the top of the order. Johnny 5. Oh, Harold, are you coming to this or are you...
I don't
think
think
Harold
somebody
will-
called out. Yeah.
No, I think that they did. No, Johnny did.
No, Johnny did. So I think when Harold used that, he would have made his way. He would have made his way down. Now the bar it looks large, but would you argue that
It is-
90 feet?
Yeah, the scale is not quite right in that.
Would you
upstairs
say that
amount.
that Harold having 90 feet of movement would be able to get downstairs by the end of the round?
Is that bonus action dash and action dash?
Action.
Yeah. I was going to say it's 90 feet, and I remember
No, it's
rogues,
insane.
rogues are broken. Yeah. So that one round has gotten you to here. And do you want to roll your initiative?
Yep. Initiative is a total of 11. 6 plus 5 is 11. Although I do have the alert feed for that, which says I am allowed to swap my initiative with anyone if they so choose. Any willing ally. But I imagine they probably don't.
Doesn't it also give you advantage on initiative?
No, this is like the
No, that's the old. That's the old.
That's the
alert.
old
Yeah.
broken initiative. This is the
Yeah.
new. So the old broken alerts. The new alert for
Yeah.
starts.
Okay. All right. So that gives us back to Johnny.
Just to clarify, how is non-lethal damage done in this version of D&D?
You can tell me that you're trying to do non-lethal damage, and I will take that into account. Yeah, so I tend to just play it as like normal and just let them go unconscious rather than killed.
I imagine that it's pretty hard to create non-lethal burning hands and flame cannon on someone who's standing in a pit of flammable grease.
Yeah.
After having brutally murdered their 3 colleagues in the same way, yes, it does seem hard.
I'm going to... Did I understand the spell that was cast?
You could make Arcana or Insight. You saw him say something, and Snappy seemed to react to it, but not beyond that. And having only met Snappy today, you don't know enough about his demeanor to see that he's had a significant change. He's still bloodthirsty.
Okay, so Johnny 5 is going to walk over and I've got the poison spray cantrip. Can that be a non-lethal poison spray?
Sure. Chloroform spray.
Johnny 5 will try a non-lethal chloroform spray and he will refrain from activating his flame cannon.
Excellent. Restraint, Johnny 5. Is this a dex effect? No, it's a hit. 11. Sprays the poison, but the cultist drips his cloak up over his face and is covered from the spray and doesn't seem to take any effect from it.
This is what I get for being non-lethal. That's Johnny Five's turn.
Okay. Ophion from the doorway.
Yeah, Ophion's gonna poke his head in and see the cultist is, and is going to take a pinch of sand out of his pocket to kind of blow it in the general direction of the cultist. Hopefully the effect of the poison spray sleeps hopefully causes the person to fall unconscious.
Casting sleep.
And it'll just
Now, just the cultist. And that it gives you like a hit point pool, doesn't it?
No, the new one is just to save.
Okay. What am I saving against?
Wisdom DC 13. If the 2024 is
Yeah, it's a lot weaker, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's a bit broken. Sad. Remind me next we can tweak and we can go back to Legacy. I'm very comfortable with 2014 makes me happy. Okay, so again, seems to just rebound off of his cloak.
And Ophion is going to step back and hold on the shoulder and say, "Things are getting a little hectic in there, Harold. Good luck, old chap."
Very good. And that brings us to Snappy's turn. Snappy, the word betray ringing in your mind. The really nice guy in the black cloak in front of you seems to be your friend right now. You're not really sure what's going on.
And betrayal. Betrayal to Snappy would be running.
Okay.
If Snappy wants to attack all of us, I think that would be awesome. But there is the barbarian who wasn't allowed to kill anything, because people now are going to try to kill the people who was telling him not to.
To kill people. PvP, total party kill, first session.
Yeah, the party has betrayed Snappy by telling him not to kill people.
That would be the other option, is him. Hold on, let me roll. And that's how I'll choose.
Oh, that's always the best way. Let the dice decide.
All right. 11 to 20, he attacks us, and less than 11, he runs away. The 7.
Just comes barreling through, pushes
Yeah.
Ophion aside, pushes Harold aside, and starts climbing up the ladder. So take your movement and your action to dash would probably actually make you up the ladder out of the room for a minute. And then at the end of your turn, you appear in the bar, looking around the bar, and you just suddenly feel your mind becomes clear again, and you realize that he cast command on you, and you are now even more enraged, and you turn around to come back down the ladder, but that'll happen next turn.
So
And that brings us to the cultist, who turns to Johnny 5, who is immediately close to him, and a blade that you didn't see him wield before appears in his hand, and he reaches out and strikes at Johnny, and Johnny's AC is 18, so it just bounces off of his armor, and he looks at you and he sighs, and he mutters again, and a sigil, much like one of the ones that you saw in the room, not the same, but very similar in similar colors and similar writing, appears in the room above your head, Ophion and Harold, and it's just a bit of an odd shape there, glowing above you. And I'm going to remind myself here Yeah. It's a melee spell attack. So it is +4 to hit. 12 hits neither of you, I think. Oh, hits Ophion. So you take 1d8 damage. You take 4 damage as the spiritual weapon that he casts thumps into you. It gives you this really just unusual sensation.
I'm going to cast Stone's Endurance as a reaction and reduce that damage by 1d12. Which is
All of it.
all of it.
Yep. Okay, Mr. Tuggins.
Does the cultist know that I'm in a room, or does he just, or does spiritual weapon?
I don't think that you. No, he doesn't know that you're in the room. It was just an area effect.
Okay. So Harold is going to slink into the shadows, use his bonus action to hide, and then slowly make his way to the quarters. And I think I checked; it should be within 30 feet.
Yeah, he's within 30 feet.
I should let the hide check first. Let's do that. Okay, so that's not great. That's 10.
Okay, you think that you're hidden. You think that you're hidden pretty well.
Sure. Tell me how this next part goes. Harold is going to try to attack him wherever he's. Actually, first, Harold is going to pull a rapier out of his walking stick. And then he's going to try to attack him with the rapier.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack.
Yeah. Am I actually hidden? Because that would be sneak attack. And
you get sneak attack because your ally is engaged.
Oh, you're right. Yep. So I don't get advantage on sneak attack.
You get advantage because your ally is engaged. You're flanking. Yes, that's fine. You can have advantage.
Are we using flanking rules?
For this, I will say that we are, because you're not hidden. His passive perception is 12, but he's distracted by the grease and the mage that's casting shit at him and the crocodile that he just sent running out of the room that he's pretty sure is going to come flying back into the room in a minute.
I'm happy to go with, for me to just go with the sneak attack, just roll the one dice roll. So I'm going to try to step on my rapier. Oh, and that's 20.
Okay. Yep, that'll do it. Yep. Roll your damage.
Please be non-lethal.
Yeah, it's going to be, I specifically didn't mean melee to be non-lethal. So he's at double dice damage?
Yep, double the dice.
Okay. A lot of dice because it was sneak attack is wet. Sneak attack
is rogue.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At level 3, yeah. Yes.
6, 12, 14, 19 plus 3 is 22. Piercing damage. Non-lethal.
Okay. You get there. He seems to have seen you coming, but he's still struggling to fend off the poison spray and the sleep spray, and he's caught a bit by surprise. And so when your rapier, which skewers him, he seems to be pretty badly hurt by that, but he's still standing. And that was action, bonus action, and movement.
And that
brings us back to Johnny.
Johnny will use his poison spray again. Actually, Johnny should also say, just lie down and surrender, organic.
Okay.
But I know there's no way he's going to do that.
Cultist will look at you, look at the stab wound in his chest, look at the 3 incinerated people in the corner of the room. Roll intimidation check for me.
No one takes him seriously.
What did you say? Speak up. I can't hear you. But no, he doesn't seem fazed by your intimidation. Okay, roll your poison spray. That'll hit him. Okay. And some non-lethal damage. 10 of the non-lethal damage. See, this time the spray catches him full in the face because he's trying to fend off the halfling who's just shish kebabbed him with his walking stick, which actually is now a rapier. and he starts to cough and splutter on this foul green poison that you've sprayed at him. But he's still up. Is that it for your turn?
Johnny will refrain from setting him on fire with his flame cannon, and that will be his turn.
Ocean.
I've been kind of here.
Muted.
Sorry, it is muted. So just wondering where Snappy's gone. Because he was all geared for a fight. Hoping someone was scared of the fight, but let's see. So he says to the cultist that he's feeling exhausted after all this stuff been going on. He pulls out some sand from his other pocket. He thinks maybe some hard-boiled sweet has been contaminated with sand. And tries to
Chicken.
Wisdom 13.
Okay. So wise cultist.
2 words for their own. Finn is going to step back into the other room and not striking distance.
Okay. And that brings us to Snappy, who's just come to his senses. Comes charging back down the ladder.
What's the distance on all of this to get back to the cultist?
So you would have used your movement and action to get
Away.
Yeah, to get away, and it's probably about 40 feet to get back to the cultist now. So you could probably still get there.
But I wouldn't be able to do
Could
it
you-
when I got there.
Yeah, correct. Is that a thing
It's
that
actually, yeah, it's like we can. There's a formula. There's some string.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Sorry. Yeah,
Can I throw my trident?
you can use it as a thrown
What?
weapon. Yeah,
Yeah. Because I dropped that before I went and got him.
yeah, you can
And I
grab that on
was-
the way through.
I was standing like here. Yeah, which is about 20 feet. And then I'd be about 10 feet away from him.
Yeah, so jumping distance still counts against movement distance, so it doesn't
Really?
get you out of it. Yeah,
Hog.
yeah. If you wanted to go up, that'd be fine. But yeah. So throw your trident. That's probably a better.
So
option.
run through here, pick up my trident. I'm going to rage again just because I'm so mad. And
He's
then
gonna miss the kill. He's gonna go on for the kill.
I thought I had reckless attack, but I can't see it in my list.
I'm sure that you can. You're a berserker. You should be able to.
Yeah, I just can't see
Yeah.
it
So
in
if
my
you,
abilities or
yeah,
anything.
okay, yeah, go reckless. That's fine. So roll this with
reckless.
advantage,
Yeah, and
and then
gonna throw the
anything that he
trident.
does to you is an advantage. But that's fine.
It's like
Roll it
10.
again. Yeah. Where's the other one?
What is this? Twin rolls?
So you throw you're so enraged, you throw the trident. There's still some remnant grease on your hand, and it narrowly misses. It lands between Harold and the cultists. Yeah, your rage is going to lapse next turn if you don't. Yeah, okay. So that's 2 rages you've got. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it for your turn?
I punched the ground just as a rule of cool bonus action.
Yep. That's fine. Yeah. The ground takes 1 bludgeoning damage. Okay, that brings us to the cultist. The cultist, seeing this tiny old man skewer him and cause him such exquisite pain, is going to smile serenely, and he's going to slash at you with the weapon in his hand, this sort of gnarled blade. So this is at Harold, which doesn't hit.
Just.
Does it?
No, sorry. Just doesn't hit. It's like it's. Oh, wait, no.
Your AC is 15. Yeah, I was going to say it was miles off. So he's infuriated by his inability to cause any pain to any of you. So he brings the spiritual weapon towards this crocodile that's just entered back into the room, who he recognizes as the threat, or as a threat. And he's going to roll the spell attack. That's going to hit. And that will do D8. There you go. So your rage isn't spent. Instead, he does 1 bludgeoning damage to you. And that's the cultist's turn because he's trapped in this room at this point. And he looks around at all of you and goes, You'll never know. I'll never tell. And that brings us to Harold.
Harold goes, oh, you wouldn't have, maybe not you, but if we used to sleep with dead with you, then that's a whole different story. But let's try you first. And then he will stab him again with a rapier. As like, yep.
Okay.
So roll to hit.
Yep.
And plus rapier is 5, so 13.
Yeah, that hits.
Yeah, 14. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
hit.
And so sneak attack damage.
Yeah, because he's engaged.
13 plus 4 is 17.
And you said it's non-lethal?
Non-lethal.
Okay. This wound seems to get him something vital, and he starts to cough and spurt blood from his airway and slumps to the ground. And you can tell that he's very badly wounded and no longer able to fight back.
And is that end of initiative? Are we out of initiative?
You guys are out of initiative.
Johnny 5 touches his sigil. Percy 1 to collect.
Oh, yes, very good, Mr. Johnny, sir. Is it coming willingly?
He is not objecting.
Very good, sir. And I hate to ask, but is there any chance he'll stain the upholstery?
Best lay down some water skin.
I was afraid that you'd say that, sir. Very good.
Harold also touches sigil. Also repair an interrogation room.
An interrogation room, yes. Very good, sir. I'll communicate back to Lord Aric, and we'll prepare a safe house for his interrogation.
Yeah. Also, the Lord who died, can my colleague eat the body? I think we've had a hard day.
That is unnecessary. We have 3 freshly cooked bodies down here.
Oh, she can't and arsenal.
Is the preference for fresh or lightly sauteed? Because these are on the well done end of the spectrum.
Self-made is the preference.
Yeah, fair. Anything else that you guys want to do in this space? Percy is procuring.
I'm not sure if there's a ladder.
Really there?
It is not really there, no.
Okay.
No, it's resting there against the wall. It's like a repair workman's ladder.
We should inspect the cultist hideout for incriminating documents.
And then go through his pockets.
Yeah, so the guy that you have in custody, the guy in the black robe with the clasp, when you search him, he's wearing some sort of hide armor, which appears very well made. Everything about the cloak, the armor, it's all very well made stuff for a cultist, so to speak. He does have a number of tattoos that seem to be similar in pattern to the runes and glyphs that you've seen at the murder scene. And on his person, he has 100 gold and a diamond worth another 100 gold. And no papers to speak of. The other 3 burned beyond recognition, and so are their cloaks and belongings. They took 4 times their HP and damage, so they're completely incinerated.
And does it look like this is like their headquarters, or?
It looks like a place where they were having a meeting. It's like there's no paraphernalia around. This is the storeroom. This is the bar's storeroom, and it seems like this is just a place that was private that they somehow managed to arrange access to.
And it would be too much to ask if they had a suspicious bag of glittery red chalk about their.
It doesn't appear that is present, no.
We should also discuss with Percy apprehending the bartender and tavern owner, just in case they were knowingly renting to dissidents.
At about this point, having had a group of 4 people go barreling past her, and then a crocodile giant man barreling back the other way, and then go back down the ladder again, the dwarven lady is standing at the top of the ladder going, "You all just stay where you are. I've called the watch. Don't know what you're doing down there, but you'll stay put. You'll all be sorted out. Have you all arrested?"
Show her the writ.
I
The
asked
giant-
the cultist what it was all for, and did he know that he actually...
He's
What-
unconscious at this point.
Alright.
He's hanging on, but he's unconscious because you said non-lethal. He's not dead, but he's not talking.
How does one even prevent a divine spellcaster from casting spells?
I guess you could bind his hands and silence him and hope that he doesn't have sorcerer abilities.
I grab an oily rag and shove it down his throat
Yep.
as violently as I can.
That would do it. Okay.
Yep. So he automatically fails 2 death saves. No, that's fine. He's going to live. He's going to live. I haven't killed him. But yeah, okay, so he's adequately silenced. Percy reports that the Chancellor has sent a carriage and some guards to take this man into custody for questioning, and that they'll want to search this place. And Percy says Lord Aric has advised that unless you want to hang around and become well known to the Chancellor's guards, that you could leave him secured there and they'll take over for you. And that's where we're going to leave the session. 11:03, that was pretty good. So we can chat about how it actually ends in terms of whether you guys stay or hand him over to the authorities or how you make that work. But let's leave it there because it is quite late and it's a school night. But thanks